As a photographer on YouTube, I have inevitably made a handful of videos about gear. About cameras, bags, straps even. All the while talking about how gear really isn't the most important thing. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't an important factor. Of course, without a camera, you can't take a photo. And certain cameras are better for certain things than others. Though, even a seemingly terrible camera can take an amazing photo, if the photographer makes it. So in order to not start off with any sort of misconception, let's set a record here. Camera gear is a tool for an artist. Different gear suits different photographers' styles better than others. What may work for me won't work for you, and vice versa. Preferences exist, and that's perfectly natural. Some people love driving sports cars, others trucks, others vans, and each one can serve a different purpose, just like a car. Okay, so in this video, I really want to discuss being a photographer, not a camera operator. The distinction lives within the notion of the camera just being a photographer's tool. And while there are certainly pros for someone to be very knowledgeable in how a variety of cameras work, that's a skill set rather than an integral part of artistic creation. I'd say a camera operator is a photographer who might have a lot of cameras, a lot of camera knowledge, technically and practically. Maybe when they go out, they carry 3 or 4 cameras all at once. Sometimes to show off, sometimes because you feel a need to show off all this accumulated gear and knowledge. The camera operator is then stuck. With all of this, now what do you take pictures of? How, when, where, with which camera? How to choose. All this gear essentially serves the same purpose. And surely the purpose at the start of this was to take amazing pictures. But now that purpose is beneath a huge mountain of gear and pressure, probably of money spent. I mean, you spend all this money on gear, it's gotta pay off somehow, right? The camera operator walks around with so much gear that photography becomes secondary. And that's not a good place to be. Like I said, knowledge and a know-how is a great skill to have. But if you're a photographer, photos are more important to have. A photographer is someone who has the tool, knows it inside and out, and uses it to create their art, with as few distractions from the tool itself as possible. I'd rather think about my subject and my composition rather than the camera I'm using. I mean, most of my best work I captured on a little old Olympus EPL3 that by all intents and purposes is outdated and straight up not up to par. But it doesn't distract me and I know how to use it. And it's a great camera all around. I mean, forget about megapixels, it is amazing. But the move to go press the shutter and take the image should be seamless between getting the idea for the image. I'm guilty of bringing multiple cameras to a shoot. 3 even, and it's probably not the best. The reason I chose to do this is, okay, sometimes I was shooting both digital and film. That's excusable sometimes, but I wonder if I'd have taken better film shots or digital shots without the distraction of the other. Furthermore, I've taken out 2 digital cameras before, and usually to take photos with different lenses without having to change. Kind of lazy, sometimes time-saving, but still, a distraction, a weight that I should seek to avoid unless the situation really calls for it, which really isn't that often. Of all times I've done this, I can only think of one instance when it was like really necessary, given what gear I have and when I take photos. And that was an engagement shoot when I really needed wide and tight angles right away. And if you know anything about me, you know I only shoot prime lenses. So that's that. So where do gear reviews and changing cameras come in then? So like I said, I've made plenty of gear reviews on the gear that I do own. And it comes down to that core factor. Which camera helps me create art better? If the EPL3 is so perfect, why do I even need something else? Okay, well sometimes I shoot in a certain environment where I really need to deliver images at a higher resolution, or use a camera that can take images faster like in low light or for sports. So I have a GH5 I use for that, but I recently moved on from it. Why would I do that? Well, I wasn't happy with it because it didn't help me create art as well as I felt like I did on my Olympus EPL3. And personally, I also want to start printing my images a little larger. So I need more information in my images to achieve that in a good way as well. I got the Olympus EM1 Mark III, which I've also reviewed. And it certainly meets the 2 factors in the middle and excels as a tool that helps me craft but doesn't distract. Its color and image feeling is so much closer to the EPL3, which still just has some unexplainable magic to it. But I will say the EM1 is pretty close, and it certainly beats the GH5. The EM1 also possesses the ability and speed that the GH5 had to expand my scope of work, more professional settings, low light, wildlife, sports, while maintaining the personality I missed with my GH5 work. So part of me is a camera operator, of course. I have this gear, I use it, I swap it around, but at my core, I want to limit that distraction as much as possible, so I can just simply be a photographer. The point of all this is to encourage you to find a tool or a small set of tools that helps you capture and create your art. And then just do it. Create art. Other cameras will always be out there and coming out, but if all you do is chase gear, you might forget to take pictures along the way. I hope this video was helpful in some way to someone, and not just me on a soapbox of pro anti-camera stuff. I've been Tony King. Thank you for watching this video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel for more content all about photography, yes, gear reviews, more ideas like this, discussions about artwork and photography in general. Stick around for another video, and I'll see you there.